Colonel Failure. I'll accept that. His 8Q. Certainly be a tough match, but let's say hello. But it's the closest one, the closest offer I've gotten. Okay, so let's zoom in on the screen. Oh, we already zoomed in. Okay. I get to go first. Let's put the move on. Played that move. I think, yeah, if he pushes again, I'll bring the bishop up here. I'm going for a fourth file rook. I could bring it over to the second file and do opposing rooks, but I know even less about that than I do about the fourth file rook. So I'm just going to do this. It's kind of near the king, playing the fourth file rook. Oh, he's offering to open this up. I mean, I could push. He takes, I take with the rook, and he can't even drop a pawn. Oh, I see. It's defended by his... No, his bishop is hitting my bishop. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the chance to open up that file. Why not? He really wanted that trade. Is there something about my position that means a bishop trade is a good idea for him here? I don't think... I mean, where can he drop the bishop? He could put it here where the knight was. Aha! He did that so he could... push the pawn. Very clever. So when he pushes again, he'll be attacking my knight. I could take. He pushes. I push. He takes my knight. I push again with check. He can just take it. So he's fairly secure there. So I am not so secure here. But, well, the square in front of the pawn is covered by the rook and the silver. So I could move my knight forward when he takes here if I don't want to lose the knight. Or maybe sacrifice it for one of these pawns here. Yeah, so he's attacking and threatening to come forward, but he can't come forward to any square. So let's just move the knight. He could go sideways to where the okay, let's he could go sideways to this square to harass my rook. If I lift my rook up to attack his token, it's defended, so it's not much of a threat. I can take here, he'll take back with the knight. I take here, he takes back with the gold. I could take here, take, and then promote, threatening his gold. Let's see, but what's something active I could do here? Could I start, yeah, my minor pieces are kind of far away. Let's do this. I do have a bishop I can drop. He has a bishop he can drop too. I should have considered that. Okay, so there's this check on this diagonal, and that's about it here. And I'm not sure what his bishop could do. He could drop his bishop here. That would be annoying. Or he could move his token over. Okay, just goes forward. So yeah, if I go forward with the check, then I could drop a pawn there, threaten to take his gold. He takes, I take. It's trading the token for a silver, I guess. The bishop drop here. He can block with the knight or move his king. Oh, he can't block with the knight. I can just take it. Let's go ahead and give the check. He blocks with the silver. So now, if I drop a pawn here, the only square I can drop a pawn on is here, or here. I could throw one in here, I guess. Then what's he going to do? Take it? I take. He takes. I do have the ability to drop another pawn there after he takes it. And I'll be getting a minor piece here if he takes it. If he steps out of the way, I'll take the gold. So I guess I get something either way. Although he could counterattack my, yeah, a bishop drop here would pin my rook against my king and win the rook. So that's probably what he should be playing. But as long as he doesn't see that, I'll play on here. Well, I will play on anyway, but I'll be at a disadvantage if he drops the bishop here and pinning my rook. Yeah, so I should move my king, actually, right? That would be unpin and give my rook some freedom to move. Yeah, let's do that first and then go back to considering how to attack here. I've got a silver and a pawn that I could drop here. Yeah, he can harass my rook like that. And if I come up, he can bring his gold forward here. Yeah, the gold is kind of an annoying piece. Is there something I could do? I could drop a pawn in front of his rook. Could move my rook to the side, but then I've given up this fourth file, at least for the moment. Let's think. Think. Oh, I can, no, I can't take it. Cannot take it. Yeah, this file looks pretty covered. This is covered by the gold, this and this is covered by the gold. This is a free square, but he can move his gold forward. Then I could come forward. Okay, let's try this. And then I could come forward again. I'm getting into trouble here, but I am looking at a pawn here. Looking at a gold here. Could drop a pawn. So yeah, he puts his gold there to keep attacking me. Let's go ahead and grab the pawn. He should find something to do with his bishop. There's probably a good bishop drop here somewhere. He missed his chance earlier. See, you got to remember I can't drop pawns just anywhere. I found one. Yeah, it's looking here. His his knight is loose, however. I mean, his gold is loose. So if the bishop moves, I can take the gold. Can drop a silver here somewhere. Okay, so he attacks my rook, but he does not defend his silver. Unless this is defended in some way I don't see. I don't see it. Oh, it's defended by the gold. Right. The silver moves, the gold is not defended, but I mean, if the bishop moves, the gold is not defended, but the gold is defending the bishop. I could give up the exchange here. Do I have some good bishop drop that would justify that? Bishop drop here hits this gold, but that's and that gold is pinned. So let's think about this. I drop the bishop here, attacking the rook and the gold, and so the rook comes over to defend the gold. Then what do I play? And I drop the silver with the check on his king. Let's play this. So he's got a rook he can drop and a knight. Knight checks are not happening here. Knight here to harass the bishop is not a move. Rook drops. Okay, so he promoted his horse. Didn't do anything about my idea of dropping a bishop here. Or taking and promoting is probably even stronger. Because I'll have a gold in hand. And I'll be threatening mate. And rook drops along here. I can block with the gold. Yeah, this game might turn in my favor here. Right, I'm threatening to take the silver here, which is pinned. And I'm threatening to drop a gold here. So that's the mate I see. I drop a gold, drive his king this way, and take the silver, and that's mate. Could just drop the gold. Yeah, there's a mate in one here. Just drop the gold right there because the not only is the silver pinned, but it doesn't even control this square in front of the king. So he puts the rook there. Okay, so I can drop a silver. That'll force the king to the side, but that would unpin his silver. I can exchange my horse for his rook. I should really try and find a mate here. Well, this is pinned. This square is not under his control. And I have two pieces I can drop. Trouble is his rook here is not pinned, so I can't. If I drop a piece here, he can take. I can take, and then the king will take back. I'll have a rook in hand. That's probably the best I can do. Don't see any drops that lead to a forced mate. The Elmo, if we look at this afterwards, may have a different opinion. So now I can drop the rook here with check. Drop the rook here with check. He's got that covered. Oh no, that's a horse, right? Let's get this right. No, that's a bishop and that's a bishop. That's a dragon. I thought he'd put his bishop there, but that's a dragon. So I can't play there. I could play here, I guess. I almost made a big mistake. Yeah, so I can take here and promote to a dragon too. But his king is kind of escaping. But anyway, yeah, so he drops the bishop there. He's looking at this pawn in front of my king. Let's do some little defensive moves here. Makeshift castle. Two defenders. Okay, just a little idea here, just to allow me to move this dragon with check here, if he takes, or if he goes there. So I can win this gold. Ah, he drops a knight. Yeah, he can do that. Okay, bishop here would be a check, huh? Can't get there so easily. Let's go here and promote. Still, dragon takes knight, and then I'll take the gold, which will relieve the pressure around my king here. I have pieces I can drop. So he takes there. That's check. I have to take back. Or move my king. But the next move he plays will not be check, so I can play here, which defends this square and threatens to bring my dragon in, checking his king. A dragon could also take this pawn here, hitting the king. Where would the king run to? Actually, that would be mate as well. Oh, he can take this pawn. Yeah, so I can just take this pawn. Let's do that. Try and defend this pawn, drive his king back. Has just one move. Can check with the horse on this diagonal. He runs there. Okay, so now I've got this square, this square. I could drop a gold here. I can't drop a gold there. I'm sorry. I was thinking that was a dragon. That was a silly, silly move. Let's step closer. Yeah, I sometimes get confused about the pieces still. Okay, that is not check, so let's play here. Now I can drop a gold. And I can take here with check, which will probably lead to a trade. It's also a knight here. I'm trying to lure his bishop away from defense of this pawn. So he'll probably move his king. Yeah, so now he's over here. If I had a... yeah, control of this square. So that's check. Got to respond. He's bringing his... okay, drop the silver here. The bishop will take because the king has no moves. No, I have to drop a gold because the king can run there. One way or another, I'm going to get to that. Get to that. Let's take there with check. He runs that way. Okay, so the horse can come here. Oh, the pawn is defended by... pawn is defended by the knight. I'm doing the wrong thing, driving the king forward, but I do have the dragon here cutting off his escape in the forward direction. Okay, so I could go here and promote. Yeah, this is going too fast for me. Don't know what to play. It doesn't work, does it? Dragging the king away from defense of this gold. Well, he's starting to use his time now. It's amazing. I've been in Byoyomi all this time. Been in overtime. And he's just been using up his main time there. Probably played a lot more games than I have. But he made a mistake somewhere. Okay, so I'm going to take here. Wonder if he's going to go for a entered king draw here of some kind. I have a gold I can drop to defend my king against checks here. Okay, took my lance. Need a good check here. So this is a dragon now. So I can drop a piece here and drive that king forward. Which is not clear what I want. It's not clear if that's what I want to do, but it's something I can do. Oh, I could have moved this bishop. That would have been stronger. Turned it into a horse here. Would have been stronger. Bishop is on that square. I wanted to take this token here too if I get the chance. So he goes there. I can take the token now. This is a check. Okay, so we must be near some kind of mate here. Silver, defended by the silver, attacking the king and attacking his dragon. Okay, I've got another rook. That'll be handy. That will be handy. So can I do the old roller mate here? I think I got him. Wow, that was an exciting game. And I've had games like that where I ended up losing somehow. But so it's nice to win one. Okay, so let's say thank you. Here, let's zoom out. He left already, but let's say thanks for the game and have a nice day. So yeah, very cool to win a game here. Let's exit and give him a good manner. And then we'll check that out with Shogi Dokuro and see if it has any suggestions. I'm sure there will be a lot. I'll try and narrow it down to the most important ones. See you then. Bye. I took a look at the game with Elmo, and this is the evaluation graph that it came up with. You can see it's even at the start, and then we both make mistakes, and it goes back and forth, and then I gradually take over. So I was glad that I managed to keep the advantage at a certain point. I mean, it seems like I had earlier opportunities, but at some point I finally grabbed the advantage and managed to keep it through to the end. So even though I didn't mate him in the quickest possible way, I did manage to at least keep that edge until I won the game. But there's a couple interesting points on the way I wanted to look at. The first one was this opening. I'm still learning this opening, and I was kind of wondering if I had made a mistake when I pushed this pawn and opened up that diagonal. Because as we saw in the game, he traded bishops. I ended up with a knight here, and then he could push the pawn forward in front of his rook. And maybe it's a slight mistake, but it's not a huge one. My big mistake comes later. But in this position, rather than push the pawn, the Elmo rather is recommending just moving the king to 4h, just starting to castle, and I guess that makes sense. It looks like there's no rush to open up this this rook file, and at the same time I can still hold his pawn at bay, and we can just continue on with a normal game. But I pushed first, so we got an exciting game. I pushed, and he traded immediately to bring my knight forward, and now he can push because I don't have a bishop here protecting this square, so when I take, he can take back. But this is a point where I make the first big mistake. And really, what Elmo is suggesting here is that I'm taking the wrong pawn. I really should have taken this pawn, and then let his rook come forward, and then take this pawn. Just do it in that order. And instead I took the other pawn first, and that lets his pawn promote, and now I've got a token inside my camp with a rook behind it. The token is the name for the promoted pawn here. It's a piece with the powers of a gold, so that's pretty dangerous. So this is the game is now in Gotei's favor. My opponent has the advantage here, but well, I move my knight. That's a logical move, and then he just defended there. Actually, the AI, or Elmo, once again, Elmo is suggesting that he should continue to activate with his token here, bring it over and harass my rook. Right, it's that promoted pawn from HE to 7G. Yeah, I was afraid of that move because it chases the rook off of the file that it wants to be on. Although maybe I could have lifted it up, as we saw in the game. But instead, he just defended the pawn, and I sacrificed the knight. And this seems to be a correct decision, and leaves us in a roughly even position. Maybe Gotei is slightly better here, but not a huge difference in a game between a couple of amateurs like us. So kind of the evaluation swings back and forth a little bit. The next big mistake I make is right here. It's kind of a funny one, because here I was finally starting to be a little bit cautious, and I had noticed that if my opponent would drop a bishop on that diagonal, it would pin my rook against my king, and would at least win the exchange. Looked pretty dangerous. And so to deal with that, I just moved my king out of the way. But instead of that move, there's actually a much better move here. And so this is the kind of move that is hard to spot. Let me just put the move, show where the move is. It's drop a pawn to that square. And now if you want a tactics quiz here, maybe you could think about what does that do? What is the point of that move? And it's kind of a 3-move sequence if you can see it. You might be able to find it if you look at all the possibilities, all the pieces that are under attack. So anyway, pause the video if you want time to figure out the point of that tactic. Okay, I'm going to give the answer away now. So it's there's 3 moves that are coming together here. Well, the first one is the pawn drop, and so the assumption is that the rook is going to take that pawn. And then the next move is bishop takes silver. So the king takes back. And then finally, the last move is rook takes gold, because with this rook pulled away and with this king pulled away, the gold is loose. So I effectively get 2 pieces for the silver, and I get a rook inside his camp that I promote to a dragon, and then I give check. So I have 3 pieces in hand and a dragon in his camp. That's probably winning in short order. So that's the kind of tactic. If you could spot something like this, you'd be a pretty good player. But that's the level I think you can strive for. That's something I should learn how to spot in a game. Anyway, I missed that, and so this is why the evaluation is swinging back and forth, because we miss various ideas as we go along here. There's another kind of tactic here. Let's look at this one. This one was instead of moving my rook. No, this one was, moving my rook, but instead of just moving it to 6D, go all the way to 6B and take here with check by promoting. And there's another move where I am penetrating into his camp. And, well, he's going to take back with the rook. But there's a clever idea here having to do with this pin of the bishop on the silver. And I've got a silver in hand, so I can drop a silver here to attack that. So that's worth giving up a rook for. In fact, even stronger is you take here, the rook takes back, and you drop a silver to, let's show it. Drop a silver to this square. And you're utilizing the pin. The bishop there is pinned to that silver. You have a silver here, which is forking the pinned silver and the rook. The rook has been brought over by that exchange. And if the rook runs away, you can drop a pawn there, and now you're threatening actually a mate by just dropping a piece on the king there, on the king's head. So that's also a very strong tactic that I missed. But that one is a little bit deeper, a little bit harder to see. So anyway, that's why these evaluations are going back and forth like this. There's tactics that I am missing. And let's see, he had a good move here. Let's see, I brought my rook over. Yeah, after I brought my rook over. So instead of bringing my rook over, what should I have done? Oh, well, again, I have a silver drop at 6B. Interesting idea. Probably similar to the last tactic. Okay, I brought my rook over, and now he has a better move here. He dropped his bishop to attack my rook, and he could have dropped a pawn here to 3C, and that's when actually he would have the advantage again. So that was his last chance to have an advantage in the game. He made the wrong drop here, and then I have a follow-up here. I could have just penetrated. This is something I could have seen. Also, I could have just penetrated with my rook and given a check, because that's once again taking advantage of the fact that that silver there is pinned against the king. So that's one I missed that I could have gotten. But anyway, after that, that's the last big missed chance. He didn't. This pawn drop was a big mistake. And what's nice is I spotted this idea with taking the bishop there. This is an approved move. Rook takes bishop is the recommended move by Elmo. And then after that, the bishop drop is also the recommended move. So that was a two-sequence set of moves that I had figured out that worked pretty well. Once again, exploiting the pin on the silver, so he's got a loose rook and a loose gold there. And he tried. Oh, he brought his rook forward to invade my camp and promoted it, and that did cause me some pause. But things are protected over here. The gold is protecting the silver. He could bring more force in, but that would just lead to. Yeah, I guess I could take. Yeah, I guess I could take with the gold if he brought his token forward. And anyway, my king seems to be relatively safe at the moment. Even if the rook drops back here or the dragon drops back to give a check, I can bring a gold forward to block. So I think I'm okay here. And in the meantime, I get to play in his camp, and so I keep him busy with these attacks. I'm just going forward to, there's one point where I missed a mate in 3. Well, they call it, it's a 5-move mate in shogi terms, but in chess terms, it's a mate in 3. And if you want to look for it here, let's see. I dropped a gold there. That's not the right move. So my last move was bishop here check, or horse here check. He moved his king, and it's my turn again. Can you spot, or if you want to, pause the video here and see if you can find a 5-move mate. Okay, once again, I'm going to give the answer away. So let's just draw it here. And this 5-move mate, it's also every move is a check, so it's a tsume problem. The first check comes from the horse. You put the horse on this square and it checks the king. If the king goes back, then you have minor pieces in hand like the silver and the gold, and wherever he goes, there's like a 2-move mate you can spot pretty easily. It depends on where he goes. I guess you can always drop the silver here and then drop the gold here. Yeah, never mind. Just dropping the silver there is an instant mate. Okay, so the king has to run out. Can't run out this way because the horse covers it. So the king runs this way. And then the next move is, let's see if I remember this, silver to 6c. Ah, yeah, this is clever. You drop a silver to this square. So now the silver, which is defended by the pawn, is checking the king. King can't go back because the bishop is checking on that square, covering that square. So the king has to come forward. The dragon covers this square and the pawn covers this square. So the only square it could go forward to is this one. So you end up with the king on 8e there, and then you've got a gold to drop. So you drop a gold here, and that is mate. So anyway, that is how you can mate him, and that would have been the quickest way to finish the game. Anyway, I didn't, I was in Byoyomi here, I think. Didn't have time to spot that, but I did manage to keep the advantage, not blunder away too much of my material, and I did finally come up with an idea for checkmating him. So there is a forced mate at the end in the final position, and I wouldn't have had trouble finding it because I'm pretty used to these kind of mates from my experience with chess. So I wouldn't have too much trouble with that. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. Bye.